One of Al Pacino and Sean Penn's most memorable and dramatic masterpiece films is called Carlito's Way. Carlito's Way was directed by Brian De Palma, the visionary behind classics like Scarface and The Untouchables. The screenplay came from David Coep, adapting Edwin Torres's novels about street-smart Puerto Rican gangster Carlito Brigante. Carlito is a Puerto Rican drug dealer from Spanish Harlem who's just been released from prison on a legal technicality. After serving 5 years behind bars, he's determined to go straight, save money, and escape to paradise in the Bahamas. Sounds simple, right? Wrong. Dead wrong. Carlito has everything mapped out. He's going to run a nightclub, stay clean, and disappear with his dancer girlfriend Gail. But the streets of New York have other plans. His former associates see him as either a threat or an opportunity, and his loyalty to his cocaine-addicted lawyer Dave Kleinfeld becomes his fatal flaw. What makes this narrative absolutely devastating is how Carlito's own moral code destroys him. He refuses to eliminate threats when he should. He helps people who don't deserve his loyalty, and he tries to honor friendships that were never real to begin with. Every good deed, every moment of mercy, with him. The relationship between these two men becomes a study in toxic loyalty. Carlito feels obligated to protect the man who saved him, even as that man becomes his greatest liability. The nightclub setting serves as the perfect metaphor for Carlito's situation. On the surface, it's glamorous and exciting, but underneath, it's a powder keg of violence, jealousy, and betrayal. Every night brings new threats, new temptations, and new reasons why Carlito can never truly escape his past. Now let's rewind to Rise to Power, which shows us how Carlito Brigante became the legend we meet in the first film. This prequel takes us back to the 70s, when a young Carlito is building his empire in East Harlem alongside his best friend Earl.
You ain't a street hood no more. You a businessman. You gotta start thinking like one.
The friendship between these two men forms the emotional core of this story, and watching their relationship evolve and ultimately fracture is both heartbreaking and inevitable. What's fascinating about Rise to Power is how it illuminates the themes of the first film by showing us their origins. We see how Carlito developed his code of honor, how he learned to navigate the treacherous waters of street politics, and how his success planted the seeds of his eventual downfall. The young Carlito is hungrier, more violent, and less philosophical than the man we meet in the original film. The period setting adds another layer of complexity to the story. The late 60s were a time of massive social change, and the drug trade was evolving from small-time operations to the massive enterprises that would dominate the following decades. Carlito and Earl are riding this wave, building an empire that spans from New York to Miami, but they're also creating the very system that will eventually consume them. Earl's character serves as a dark mirror to Carlito. Where Carlito maintains some semblance of a moral compass, Earl becomes increasingly ruthless and paranoid. Their partnership, which begins with genuine friendship and mutual respect, and fall. Rise to Power shows us the intoxicating allure of power and success, while Carlito's Way reveals the crushing weight of consequences and the impossibility of true redemption. Both films explore the same fundamental question: can a man really change his nature, or are we all prisoners of our own character? Carlito's tragedy isn't that he lacks the will to change, but that he's trapped by the very qualities that made him successful in the first place. His loyalty, his pride, and his refusal to abandon those who depend on him become the instruments of his destruction. These aren't just crime stories. They're profound meditations on fate, friendship, and the price we pay for our choices. They remind us that sometimes the greatest tragedies aren't caused by evil people doing evil things, but by good people trapped in impossible situations. Carlito's Way isn't just another gangster movie. It's a masterpiece that explores what happens when a man tries to walk away from the only life he's ever known, only to discover that some doors, once opened, can never truly be closed. It was great to see him and Gail get a second chance at love and have the money they needed to escape, but sad to see Carlito risk that escape.
There's a delivery for you, Mr. Kleinfeld.
From who?
From my father and my brother.
Adios, counselor.
Every time I watch it, I feel Carlito should have let the streets handle Kleinfeld while he focused on his destiny. I cannot stress enough Pachanga's advice.
This loyalty that you have for your friends is rare in this business. But someday, it's gonna get you killed.
So important to be there for friends, but it's also important to pay attention to who they are and what their intentions are in life and for you as their friend. Lesson: choose the battles that benefit your goals. Rise to Power's lesson was to keep your friends and enemies close enough to know what could be coming. Carlito's Way is number 3 on my top 10 movie series list because of the great plot, amazing acting from not just Al Pacino and the amazing Sean Penn, but even from Ingrid Rogers, Luis Guzman, John Leguizamo, and Penelope Ann Miller. Tell me honestly if you liked Carlito's Way or Rise to Power in the comments, and thank you so much for watching. See you next movie.